indicate, like, don't worry about the fact this player is not relevant to the conversation.
Oh, we are up. We are off to the races, Benny, my boy. All right. Let me just babysit this thing for a second. Anybody out there? Anybody out there that is watching, listening? Feel free to drop a comment in the stream chat, just so that we know that we're not talking into outer space and that this thing is actually working. All right, Ben, FIDD-F2.
Hello.
We got the. I think we got a lot of the kinks out, the hinky kinkies out in our F3 vid, and I feel pretty good about running through this one. And yeah, let's dive in. Is Pack really the cock of the walk here, or is there some actual legitimate competition?
Oh, do you want to? I thought maybe we should just sort of let people know what happened last year. Do a little recap.
Oh yes, good thinking.
Hold on, I'm pulling it up on Sleeper. I think this is one of the ones Alex won.
Yes, he channeled his dark Land of 10,000 Lakes voodoo to somehow scumbag his way to the mountaintop.
Yes, indeed. He defeated Pac Fan 138 to 127 for the first for the ship. So it goes Alex, then Pac Fan in the third place game. Perk / Garrett Jan, who was one of our top overall scoring teams last season.
I remember that.
Defeated Lou 129 125. So a very close third place game. Broncos whooped the crap out of Gibbsy in the fifth place game 163 to 113. And Colt came through and won the consolation bracket over Mike.
Makes sense. Oh, geez, poor Mike. We're gonna have to let Mike have it here in a few minutes. Okay.
I liked him better than you did.
You did. Yeah, we were pretty far apart on a few of these teams.
Yeah, that's true. But we were just discussing that we're still refining our
right
rating.
And given the fact that you were kind enough to lob serve and let me smack my rankings back based off of that, you certainly are more than welcome and encouraged to tweak as we go through here. So let's go through here. All right. So starting with the quarterbacks. So BM Hunter, if I recall correctly, BM Hunter's F3 team would charitably be described as dog shit. I believe it was. I'm pretty sure, BM Hunter, that your F3 team is dog shit. Love you so much. Hate your F3 team. But yeah, looking at his quarterbacks in F2 here, I mean, it's not the deepest depth chart in the league, but I mean, Kyler Murray as your QB3 is kind of ridiculous. Like that's so OP. He probably has, assuming good health, he probably has 3 top 10 quarterbacks. He definitely has 3 top 12 quarterbacks, which is, and then he's got Russell Wilson and Darnold for good. Yeah, so I mean, this is just off the charts.
He also had my favorite important trades data of anyone in this league. None. He may have made some trades, but none of them were involving serious players. He basically just, this is 2 drafts we're looking at here. But yeah, Stroud, AR, Kyler is you've got the top of the position with Stroud, and AR and Kyler sort of cover each other's butts there for injury prone on the mobile quarterback. So you got a pretty safe 17 games from somebody who's going to be picking up yards with their legs. That's a pretty rock star QB group. It was a pretty easy number 1 for me.
I tried to beat it. I tried to find a way, but yeah, it's the depth of elite talent is borderline problematic. I mean, that creates a lot of pressure. Well, not a lot of pressure, but it creates a fair amount of pressure at the top end of the quarterback market in this league. Like if Stroud, AR, and Kyler are all top 10 quarterbacks, which seems super plausible,
yeah,
that means the
definitely.
other 11 teams have 7 between them. So it really flattens quarterback out for other teams, and that makes him dangerous for sure.
And he's going to need that value because he has no running backs.
We'll We'll get to that. All right. After BM, we start disagreeing vigorously. Okay, so you had Colt at number 2 with Josh Allen, Stafford, and then some guys. And I get it. I see why you would. I myself in the F3 video, made a big. I don't remember even who it was for, but somebody had Josh Allen. I was like, sorry, he has Josh Allen. Like that's gonna put him at 2 or 3 or whatever it was. But and even though I love Stafford, I'm trying to get Stafford in M1, and boards just won't spread those thighs. If Stafford only has a year left, this is very bleak. Like I don't know what his draft picks look like. Like, wait, no, we do because it's Colt. We do know what his draft picks look like. He doesn't have any, so it's very tenuous. Tyrod, Jameis, Mason Rudolph, like there is not another quarterback here. He does not have a path to a QB2. If anything were to happen to Stafford outside of the waiver wire, he has no picks. Yeah, scary stuff. Josh Allen is.
He doesn't have the depth, but I'm kind of trying to treat QB as if the way I've been looking at tight end, which is basically if you've got one of the top guys and you have another option, then I've got to sort of say that the capital you invested in a top 5 quarterback is worthwhile, and Josh Allen's the number 1. Stafford is a solid earner at number 2, but you're right, he's got no depth at all.
Who else?
Whereas you went with Shogun, who also has no depth, but he has 2 sort of QBs that are in unknown situations. There's a lot of question marks floating around Caleb and Herbert QB room this year. I'm like 93% confident that will be the better quarterback group going into next year.
Right, and we should probably say, like, Ben and I don't necessarily have the same weighting of the importance of 2024 production in these rankings. So we're looking at players. We're not really so much considering future draft capital. We're talking about what do you have in the cupboard right now? What is the value of what you have in there right now? But I think Ben is probably valuing more so based on like, okay, what are they going to do in 2024? Whereas I'm definitely including that and weighting it heavily, not as heavily probably as Ben is. So take that. When I shit on your team and Ben loves it, keep in mind why that might be. Okay, so yeah, Josh Allen, Stafford, like as long as everything goes right, it's great. Caleb Herbert, I know that's way high. I mean, obviously Caleb is carrying the water there for me to have that too. I'm all the way in on Caleb. I couldn't be more in. If I had more appendages, more hair, more body hair that I could get in on Caleb, I would. And then I mean Herbert. I think he's probably trapped in like super low end QB1, super high end QB2 purgatory now. Although there's still a chance that he's got like some Brock Purdy like points per pass attempt, points per play magic in this new Jim Harbaugh arrangement. But yeah, just thinking like long term, like he's going to be the face of a franchise for at least the next 5-6 years. And then
he's a terrific value in Dynasty for sure, but I also just don't think the Chargers are going to be good this year, and I seem to be out on a limb alone there.
No, I think a lot of people agree with you. I feel differently, but I think a lot of people have the Chargers coming in 3rd in that division, and I don't, or at least missing the playoffs in the AFC, and the AFC is very tough, so we'll see. All right, so
did you see that he sold Lamar, Love, and Purdy? That's a better QB than what he has.
I will say. Obviously, I wrote up the video like synopsis and made it sound like Shogun was a fucking Jack the Ripper. I will say that Shogun, buddy, I think you hemorrhaged quite a bit of value. I know that you had to consolidate somewhat because you had so many like mid-range value pieces and you had to start to consolidate. And I think you did that to get like Lamb and that was smart. But this, you're really throwing around some real big pieces, hot and heavy. I know it's a free league and all, but I saw this. Yeah. When Ben showed me this, I he did what? So
yeah, a boatload of picks in the mix too. And then down at number 3, we were both on Alex. It's Mahomes, Tua, nobody else. But for me, it's the same logic. It's Mahomes, so I'm not going to put him outside of the top like 5 ever. Although I think I might have actually done that in F3, but that was because it was like Mahomes, no one else. Like
Yeah, I remember that.
Stetson Bennett as the QB2 or something. So
Yeah.
if you've got a top guy and you back him with anyone who's going to start, who has a reasonable shot of starting 17 games, then I'm going to try and rank him pretty high.
As we'll see with Alex's F1 team, he in year one had a real blind spot for quality quarterback depth. This is it's not. I mean, it's not the same as Colt because obviously Stafford is going on 36 and has like 40% of a neck. But Mahomes Tua, like if Tua does not have the deal yet. There are definitely still some tinfoil guys out there who think like, I don't know, man, the Dolphins haven't given him the bag yet. So
Never going to happen.
I know, probably
He's
not.
definitely getting paid.
I know, but just he also was throwing gang signs on the turf in Buffalo or Cincinnati, whatever it was.
Yeah, we all thought he was going to die, and then he didn't. So that, I mean, I'll give him credit for not dying when they thought he was going to.
I do appreciate when my guys don't literally die. All right, so yeah, I tried to get Alex down from 3, but I just couldn't do it. Then you had Pack with Lamar, Purdy, Travis at 4. I do really like Lamar, Purdy, Travis, but Travis as your only other quarterback. I mean, obviously we have to assume he's going to start 0 games in 2024, quite possibly 0 games in 2025. You have like Hendon Hooker basically as your QB3. That's not great. And Pack is contending right now. So Pack, if you're listening, and I know that you are, first off, EAD. Second, like you probably need to just go get like a scumbag quarterback, like a Sam Darnold, like even maybe like a Daniel Jones, just somebody who is cheap and will start games at some point in 2024, just as like disaster mitigation. You don't want to have this build take a shit on you just because Brock Purdy re-tears his fucking Tommy John muscle.
I'm looking at it. I think T-Law and Purdy are kind of in the same tier. Maybe Purdy's on the top of that tier and T-Law is closer to the bottom. But I just don't see Love Lamar as that close. And I like Love. I'm a buyer on it, but I just don't think. I mean, Lamar feels like a pretty solid walking into the top 4, and Love, he could get there. He could also be banging around down at the bottom of the top 10. So. The confidence in Lamar gets me there. Drake May is obviously a great upside play, but I'm valuing depth less at the position. I'm thinking about it as a 12-team league for this year.
Right, and this is kind of like I was saying before. This illustrates kind of the differences in our weighting. Will Purdy outproduce Trevor Lawrence in 2024? Quite possibly, probably. I think Trevor Lawrence is still a more stable commodity in terms of access to top 12 seasons over the next 5 seasons than Purdy is. I know. Should be smooth. Like Purdy should have the wind at his back, and he should get a mega deal from the Niners, and he probably will. But he's not as close to that as Trevor Lawrence is currently.
Yeah, but you're also looking at he's got the wide receivers are going to change, but he's got CMC just locked in there for 2 more years now, right? So I'm fine with Purdy.
So am I, but Trevor Lawrence does have a little bit more. Does add a little bit more as a rusher. Trevor Lawrence was afflicted by just plain bad luck. More so than probably any other starting quarterback in the league last year. He was way up there in terms of like near miss touchdowns, and then he got beat to shit because his offensive line all died. I do like Love more than Lamar in Dynasty. If I had been in position in M2 where I had to choose one or the other, I would have gone with Love at like 1.8 over Lamar. That's my personal valuation of the two. I understand that you're a Bears fan. You can't quite get there yet. But
I mean, you're talking about a guy who's won the MVP twice. It's spicy.
I know.
It's putting a lot of faith in Love, and I'm there with Love. He's got a ton of weapons. The Packers are a good organization, if not a classy organization, and they. All right, down at number 5, you can just replay our conversation about number 2, except reverse our positions because I've got Shogun at 5, you've got Colt at 5. That's just the inverse of what we had at number 2.
Right, and
then. We get down to number 6, and it's just Lou and Pack. We've just got Lou and Pack swapped 4 and 6.
Right, and that's a difference in win now versus long-term security and a surety in production. All right, at 7 you had Hurts. This was really tough, okay? Because
yeah,
this got tough. You had Hurts, Jaden Daniels, Rodgers, JJ McCarthy, AOC at 7. It killed me to put that at 8. That is not a bad group at all, and obviously Daniels has a ton of ceiling. I'm scared shitless of Daniels' floor. And I just got to be real about that. Like, to me, the floor is through the floorboards. Like he could be out of Washington D.C. by 2026. Like, that's in play to me. A lot of guys don't feel that way, and he's already starting to get, like, camp Twitter hype videos. So did Calvin Ridley this time last year. So did other guys. So we'll see. But the group as a whole is actually very strong. It deserves to be higher than 7, or now Ben is busting it down to 8. But
I changed my mind.
Looking,
yeah, I talked myself out of Hurts earlier today in Discord. We were talking about Burrow versus Lamar, and I was saying Burrow. So if I'm gonna say that, then in this situation, I've gotta say Burrow over Hurts long term. And then I have a little bit of roster bias with Bryce Young. I mean, it's a complete crapshoot whether he's going to be good or just completely flame out.
There's a definite
Levis over Rodgers isn't even close to me.
Well, I mean, I certainly would love for that to be true. I have a ton of Will Levis roster bias. There is an outside chance that Levis flames out spectacularly in 2024. That could absolutely happen. But looking at BGuns, Daniels, McCarthy, Rodgers, that's a lot of instability. It's a lot of roster capital tied up in very volatile pieces. All those guys could move all over the place over the next 6 months. So yeah, I had to bust that down to 8. All right, at 9, what do we have? 9, you had Geno, Goff, and then dead bodies. Jesus Christ. I put that at 10, and then what did I have at 9? Where's my 9? Oh,
Garrett. Dak, Cousins, Penix.
Yeah, the pass volume floor in Atlanta is just really friggin' high, and he owns it completely. So that and Dak, and then he doesn't really have anything else. But
what is that? Where can you put a little bit more explanation behind that sentence? Because Atlanta has not passed the ball at all. I know they have a new offensive coordinator, but do we know that this guy's going to chuck the ball all over the yard compared to Arthur Smith?
We gotta take what they're showing us. They're showing us that they go and give Darnell Mooney real money. They trade for Rondale Moore, which I don't think is really anything. But they're putting receivers around Cousins that's gonna let them go 3-4 wide without having to run out fucking Scotty Miller and Mac Hollins and fucking bums. So, I mean, Cousins before his Achilles exploded was going to lead the league in passing yards, pass attempts, was a dark horse MVP, and then they bring in a McVay disciple as offensive coordinator. I think the Falcons are telling us loud and clear we're going to throw to win. Like that it would be shocking. Yes, Bijan Robinson should have a great year. I mean,
Tyler Algiers too. That's a great 1-2 punch, and exactly, you have a lot of money invested in Cousins, who's coming off a very serious injury. I think that they would love for him to be a game manager, like 13 out of 18 weeks, and then be healthy in the playoffs. I think that it makes sense to me that they should lean on their running game as long as they can win with that running game. And in that division, I think that they can probably win close games without feeling like they have to chuck the ball all over the yard. They've also invested quite a bit in their defense. Yeah. So I'm not entirely sold on the Atlanta chucks the ball a ton narrative.
That's a fair point.
Plus, they backed him up with Penix because that pick is wild. And sure, they're going best player available. But if they were like, Cousins is the man, he's definitely going to lead us to the promised land. But they're so broadly in their window. It has to be now. They have to start winning now. They have to be a playoff team. They have to win the Super Bowl in the next 3 years. That has to be their goal.
Oh, they want to win the NFC this year for sure. Yeah, there's no rebuild in Atlanta. It's already built. Anyway, so yeah, Dak, Cousins, Penix. It's very thin, but I have it at 9. This is a quarterback room that could easily produce top 6 fantasy points in 2024. Just Dak's in his 30s now. Obviously, Cousins is so that's why I have it at 9. All right, so 11. We agree that Bronc. Jesus Christ, man. Bronc and Mike. I can't tell who had worse luck out of the startup. Actually, it was Mike. But Bronc didn't do much better. How did he get here? How the fuck did this happen? He's got Baker, Minshew, Fields. I'm not even going to say the other 2 guys because they're not even real fucking people. I mean, obviously, yeah, Fields he took in the first, and, that blew a lot of guys' dicks off. But how do you take Fields and not go get like a Dak or a real quarterback that you know is going to be there? Baker, yeah, obviously saved him last year, but now Canales is gone. Oh fuck.
Yeah, and he didn't even sell. The only quarterback he was drafted that isn't rostered right now is Colt McCoy. So it's not as if he sold off to get to this position. He just fumbled the hell out of the startup draft at QB, and that's what it is. I mean, it was a rough one for him.
Yeah,
but
it was.
Sometimes the snake gets ahead of you.
But
he also lost Nick Chubb on this roster, and he went JT Chubb early in the second and fourth, so he put himself in a bad spot, and he didn't cash in on any of the lucky guys late, like Kyren or Mostert, Zamir. He got behind the eight ball on QB on this roster for sure.
And then you think that's bad, and then there's Mike. So Mike took Bijan in the first, which, hey, fine, good, solid pick. Traded up, and then he took who did he take in the second? He took a receiver with his second rounder, I believe.
Mike, hold on. He took Bijan in the first. He took Deshaun 2-8.
No, I think he took AJ Brown.
And then he had AJ Brown 2-3. He must have traded up.
Traded up to take Deshaun Watson, which it doesn't get more brutal than that. Hey, I wasn't doing it, but I was a soft advocate for it. That how bad could it be? Oops. And there's people out there that are still trying to truther Deshaun in 2024. God bless him.
He can bounce back. He was hurt. I'm not saying it will happen, but I don't have any. I'm not saying it's impossible.
Yeah, and Sandy Hook didn't happen, right, Ben? Jesus Christ. All right, so Deshaun hurt, and then Daniel Jones. Again, like there was a population, a minority, but a population that said, "Hey, Dimes is coming off of a QB9 finish or whatever it was. Brian Dabble is maybe a whisperer. Jones should be fine. Super wasn't super wrong." And then Mac Jones, super bad. Oh my God, Jimmy G, dear God, make it stop! Like every single pick at quarterback went thermonuclear disaster on him, like just unbelievable. So yeah, your heart breaks for Mike.
It's an Easter Island situation here for sure.
Other than his shit pie at quarterback, the team is really not bad. The team could compete, but his quarterbacks, Mike. Your quarterback situation is so bad that I don't know what you're doing here, pal. Like. You don't have the picks to save this anytime soon. Bijan's value is never going to be higher. Kyron's value is never going to be higher. I know it's a free league, so fuck it, but like, come on. Like, you're going to look kind of stupid if you just let Bijan and Kyron's prime toil on 5 and 9 teams for the next 2 or 3 years or however long you stick around. So, yeah, it's definitely time to strongly consider the full teardown option because yikes. So, all right. So moving on from the quarterbacks. So what was our biggest disagreement at quarterback? 3 apart on Colt, 3 apart on Shogun. Yeah, Colt and Shogun, which we transposed. All right. On to running backs. So, yeah, geez. So this is where Pack really starts to pull away from the crowd. Ben, why don't you tell us about Pack's little running back stable here? What's he got working?
Yeah, he really deviated from his normal setup here, and is not as deep at wide receiver as you're used to seeing, which is kind of crazy because his wide receiver room is still thick as hell. But he picked up Breece Hall and Travis Etienne to go with Josh Jacobs and James Cook. So that is a incredibly loaded running back room. He's got Zach Moss and Antonio Gibson down at the bottom to give him some extra depth. Let's see. He gave up Jalen Warren and a 2024 first to get Breece Hall and a 2024 third. So that is a winner, big time winner. And then he gave up a 2025 first and a 2024 second to get ETN. So you guys are really just letting him have it.
Well, we can blame.
He did pay up to get Lamar Purdy. No, that was fair.
Don't anonymize it. It was 24. 24 was doing 24 shit and gave him. He didn't. I think.
It's true, but it was Gibbs that gave him ETN for the 2025 first and the 24 second.
I mean, Gibbs did not take a bath on that trade. 24 did, and I maintain that 24 likes to lose trades. He thinks it's funny. That's right, 24. I'm calling you out.
He's got a kink. Yeah, that's fine. Don't kink shame him.
Some guys like to have their feet peed on. 24 likes to lose trades and then roll around in it in the Discord. So that's
I'm not in this league, so it's easy for me to say don't worry about it.
Exactly. It doesn't affect you, so fuck it.
Then we go at number 2. We both agreed again. We got Lou. Well, he's got CMC, Mixon, Swift, Pollard, Corum, and Keaton Mitchell. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Keaton's going to be on the shelf for at least September, but he
could never be a thing again. But he's still a nice piece to have deep down on your bench.
And he could be the heir apparent when Henry's finally ready to hang it up. This is just a mile.
In week 1, this is Baltimore we're talking about.
I believe going into 2023, we had Lou as our favorite to win it all. Don't quote me, but if I remember, we really liked. We thought Lou's team was like just a battering ram. Like there was nothing that was going to get in the way. And looking at his quarterbacks, I love his quarterbacks. I like him a little more than you do. Looking at his quarterbacks, the running back room, like I have Lou at 4, you have him at 6. We probably both have him too low. Like the running backs are so good, the quarterbacks are better than Pack's. Sorry, Pack, they are. Or at least there's definitely a strong.
He's really, really good at those 2 positions. And then we both. He's in our little top cumulative scoring for the position ranks. If you take away the bottom 2 columns, he's whooping ass. But down there at wide receiver, we both have him ranked really low, 11 for me and 12 for you, and then at tight end, 11 for you and 10 for me. Tight end, I try not to overweight low numbers at tight end, but I overweight high numbers at tight end because it's just a position with so much stratification.
Right. Speaking of, to the numbers, I had Alex number 1, but because Alex, we'll get to why I decided to override this. I actually do have Pack at number 1. I have Alex number 2. We'll get to why that is here in a little bit. All right. So I take your point.
We both had Alex at number 3 on the running back list.
We both had him at 3 at quarterback. Lou's receivers are not sexy. They're old. He's got Hopkins, Ridley, Sutton, but that could be perfectly serviceable in 2024. So I think we're like, the rankings don't show how serious of a contender Lou is. He could win this thing. Like his team, CMC Mixon is no fucking joke. That could wind up being the best 1-2 in the league, in the entire league, even better than Pack. Like it could easily. So, anyway.
Also, the depth at running back is super valuable, too, in trades. So he could add to his wide receiver core, or Schultz could way overperform, and this could easily do well.
Speaking of Pack, what is Pack like? The running backs are so good, it actually makes you go, Pack, what the fuck are you doing? He needs to take one of these running backs and go find somebody that'll give him a quarterback for one of these running backs. He has too many running backs. He doesn't need fucking James Cook anymore. He doesn't need Pack. You don't need James Cook. Move on from James Cook. Like his value is very likely never going to.
Like, is James Cook and Purdy going to get him a significant upgrade over Purdy though?
I'm not talking about an upgrade.
Like, where do you want to go?
Do you really want to be in a position?
Depth?
Do you really want to? What is Kamani Vidal? What is Kamani Vidal but depth? Zach Moss is depth. That's a guy that should be in lineups, and he probably can't get in the lineup with Pack. So I mean, this is just
it's true that if you like, you should definitely target somebody who has no running backs. Like Kyler Murray is right there on a team who's starting Trey Benson and Trey Sermon. So
and Bronc is dead. Like, go pick the corpse of Bronc. Give him fucking James Cook. Give him James Cook for Baker Mayfield straight up. Why not? Why not? I mean, it gives you bye week coverage. It gives you injury protection. Where's the downside? You don't need James Cook. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. All right, so Lou's running backs are for real. Like, Pack and Lou, they have the running backs that like cover for other weaknesses. Like if like Lou's receivers and tight ends aren't that great, so what? Like with having 2 flexes, like it apologizes for that quite a bit. Pack doesn't need his receivers apologized for or his tight ends. But
Yeah, that's true. I guess he can start Jacobs Cook in his flex and have pretty good reception numbers from those two as well.
right, right. So yeah, those two kind of on an island at the running back position. Although Alex, again, just a man of threes. Barkley, Henry, Aaron Jones is very strong. Zach Evans, Abanikanda didn't really so much work out. Algier, I would probably try to just trade to the Bijan owner. Honestly, like, I mean,
That's where he has the highest value. I still think he's going to be a viable, like low end RB3. He's probably going to have good weeks, bad weeks, but I doubt he's going to fade out of the picture altogether there.
I mean, like a poor man's David Montgomery. Yeah, I mean it's a nice piece of depth, but I don't know.
I just was looking at the game logs, and David Montgomery was really good last year. Like I've been underselling David Montgomery.
He did.
There's just both he and Gibbs like produced.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, in the over the whole 17 game for sure. So yeah, Barkley, Henry, Aaron Jones, like that's rock solid in terms of producing in 2024. I mean, Alex's receivers are very old. His running backs are very old. So he's all in. He's all in on winning right now because this team, something bad is going to happen to at least a couple of these older guys. Derrick Henry, Devontae Adams, Amari Cooper, Keenan Allen, Terry McLaurin turns 29 in September. Like, we like all these guys to varying degrees right now. We don't think anything bad is going to happen age-wise, age-related to any one of them in particular. But when you have this many of them, something bad is going to happen. So yeah, it's all about 2024. Alex should not hesitate to sell off future picks to fortify for the stretch run if injuries or ineffectiveness do strike.
So at 4 through 6, we've got the same kind of grouping there. I guess 4 through 7.
Mm-hmm.
I've got Mike at 4. You've got him down at 7. For me, he's got Bijan and Kyren and no depth, but Bijan, Kyren's two top of the top end running backs, and then you look at the guys in between. You've got 24, who he's got Gibbs, but then he's down to Spears, Brooks, Warren, who I like, but none of them are in that same tier. And then you go down to you're on Gibbsy next before Mike. Oh, you just switched them, but yeah, again, Gibbsy for me is like where the heck are you? Pacheco, Kamara, Gus, Demont, Roshan, like that's killer depth, but it's like all it is. It doesn't have any top end hitting power. So I'll take the Bijan Kyren double elite over a gaggle of not double elite.
I will say that I strongly suspect Kamara and to a lesser extent those other three guys, Gus, Demont, Pacheco, they all have like RB1 days in them in 2024, especially Kamara.
For sure.
Like Kamara's final season in New Orleans could be a banger, but you're right. Like Bijan and Kyren, they could be fantasy mainstays for like 3, 4, 5 years. Pacheco, maybe. The rest of these guys, nah. It's not in the cards. So you're right. All right. So I had 24's backfield of Gibbs, Spears, Brooks, Warren, Chase Brown. I want to put this backfield higher. Yeah, I'm gonna move this over to Alex's. Actually, hold on. This is better than Alex's for me because it's got that X factor. Potential longevity. Like Gibbs should be the guy in Detroit for at least 3 years. Brooks should be the guy in Carolina for at least 3 years. Like Warren, I mean, Najee Harris is a free agent next year. He might inherit the kingdom. Chase Brown I like a lot. Henry and Aaron Jones are going to be slapping their names on a car dealership or a car wash in a couple years. Like that's they each have 2 years left. Absolute best case scenario. So yeah, 3 was a little bit too high. And Barkley is, he might have 3 years left, might not. So yeah, 24 at 3 for me. And then you had him at 5. You had Mike at 4. I had Garrett Jan at 5. You had him at 6 with Kenneth Walker, Rashad White. Yeah, Mostert, Connor, B-Rob. Damn, man, this should even be
really good. It's really good.
Who do I have at 5? Or who do I have at 4? Ooh. I'm gonna leave Alex. I'm gonna leave Alex at 4 because this is kind of like Gibbsy. It's really good depth, but I don't know if we really trust Rashad White to do it again. I certainly think Kenneth Walker's in for difficulties in terms of week to week production, but I do really like Brian Robinson. He's got Eckler, so he's got that whole backfield covered, and the Commanders are going to run the dick off the football, so I do like that. Connor could have another banger season in him. This is a really good backfield. This backfield deserves to be higher, but can't. Sorry. So
yeah.
All right. So
outside of like the bottom of each category, I'm actually this, like I said before we started, this was a tough one for me. I was going back and forth on a lot of these and having to sort of like define what I was going to make my choices based on, because I was running into those questions so often.
I struggle with the running backs.
So what are we here? Are we down to 7 here? You've got Gibbsy down at 7. I've got him at 9. Let's see, Gibbsy. What do you got? Pacheco, Kamara, Gus, Demont, Roshan. A lot of depth, just not a lot of top end guys. Like
this was probably one of your most surprising rankings to me. You had an A-Chain Zamir Ford backfield at 7, which, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love A-Chain, but as your RB1, whoo boy, A-Chain, Zamir, and Ford could all fucking hit a windshield and explode in 2024. Let's not kid ourselves. Like, there's no stability in this backfield in this depth chart at all. So that's fucking scary. And what there was, Gibbs, he shipped out. So that's scary as fuck. Bronc at 8 with JT Chubb, which who knows? I mean, he may never play another down. It's possible. But JT is a real piece. He's got a contract. He's young. I'm kind of.
He's only got one running back. How can he be? How can he be above a guy that has A-Chain, Zamir, and Ford? I actually am of the other mind on Zamir. I think that maybe his ceiling might not be very exciting, but he's going to churn out touches and yardage week after week. And Ford, who the heck knows? He was pretty good last year in PPR and half PPR.
Yeah, but that's the kind of thing that we tell ourselves and it makes us think, oh, so he's the guy there. He wasn't that efficient as a runner. Now, neither was Rashad White in 2022, and then fortune smiled upon him in 2023. So yes, things could break right for Ford. He's in the right position for them to, but his future is in no way assured. No way assured. Pierre Strong is still hanging around. I mean, I like Strong as like a lottery ticket. Like
Foreman is the one that I'm worried about.
In 2024, Foreman.
Or Chubb. I mean, Chubb still. You keep seeing articles that he's progressing in his rehab. He's at practice with the running back group, not practicing.
Right. I mean, honestly, that was why I let Bronc get up to 8. Is like on the 1 in 100 chance that Nick Chubb scores 6 touchdowns in a season again ever in the NFL. All right. So at 9, you had Gibbsy at 9. I had him at 7. At 9, I had Colts, Najee, Rambo. See, this is tough. Najee, Rambo, Javonte Williams, Singletary. I have him at 9. You have him at 10. This is a backfield that just had some really bad luck in 2023. Najee kind of was what we expected. But Rambo underperformed. Javonte really underperformed. Singletary was nice, but now goes to New York. This isn't a bad backfield, but again, it's not bad, but there's just better ones ahead of it. I kind of want to. Yeah, I'm gonna bump that over. I gotta bump that over you, Bronc. Sorry. Get down in the mud where you belong, you mook. You fucking computer virus with fake hand pictures. All right, so I moved Colt up to 8. You've got him at 10, which that might change the. Yeah, I've got Colt. I like Colt's team. All right, so
actually, I'm actually gonna switch and put Gibbs over Bronc here. I think.
Yeah, get down there, Bronc. Get down on your knees.
Yeah, you don't have an RB2. It's problematic. I mean, Zeke's the RB2 there. So, and that puts Bronc and Colt. Let's see.
The best case for Zeke is like 3.8 yards.
Yeah,
scumbags 9 touchdowns. That's it.
I'm gonna go ahead and move Colt over you as well, Bronc. I just I like that depth.
Yep.
Where's my 9? Do I have a 9? There it is.
All right, so we both shit on Bronc. This is good. This is right. And then at 11 and 12, we both agree that Shogun and BM Hunter's backfields are nightmares. They both know that their backfields are nightmares. We don't need to dwell on that. They suck.
For me, Trey Benson is like the best player out of this entire group, which is why I went for the for BM Hunter over Shogun. But I think they're both planning on punting the position this year or trading to add on. It's ugly for both of them.
I don't know what they're planning on, but yeah, it's rough. All right, so to the receivers, everyone's favorite position, the wide receiver depth charts. All right, so at 1, yeah, we both had Shogun. Obviously, knew where he wanted to fatten his roster up. I like Jalen Corker. He sounds fun. All right, so he's got CeeDee Lamb, Puka, Devontae Pickens, Zay Flowers is his 5, Marvin Mims is his 6. Like it just keeps going. Demario Douglas is his 7. Like he's just got a lot of guys. I really almost
he's Mims too.
Yeah, I mean he's got a lot of guys that good things could happen for. He's got elite guys at the top. He's got Pickens is a wide receiver 2 or 3 on most teams. He's got him on a as his 4. Flowers is a wide receiver 3 on 2, 3, more 3 than 2. But yeah, he's got so many guys. Nevertheless, I really almost put Garrett Jan at 1 because Hill Chase. There's nothing like it. You can't touch Hill Chase.
Hill Chase Debo, it's crazy. It's crazy. His, and he's got Roman Wilson there too. And Jacoby was a great piece last year, but it's just
Peter's out.
That's one of those ones where they're both just like viciously heavy, top heavy, tons of volume, and it's like, how am I going to decide? And that's when I start thinking about things like who's got better dynasty legs.
Yeah, in a normal league where a guy like Shogun couldn't do some crazy shit like this, this would be the runaway number 1. I mean, this is Hill Chase is God mode. But yeah, it just doesn't really have compelling flex pieces. But again, yeah, if Debo's healthy and he's giving you his best Debo shit, like look out. Garrett Jan can just smash your face in. All right, so this is where we are way far apart. You had Alex at 3. I had him at 7 at that wide receiver, so we are miles apart here. And I see the case for it, obviously, but his top 5 guys, one of them is under 29 when the season starts. Like he is way long in the tooth. Again, when you're that old, it's at that many key spots, something bad is going to happen. Bad luck will find you. So it's just a question of how much and how far into the season before groins and hamstrings start rearing their ugly heads. So, and then if that does happen, like Adonai Mitchell, like there's no backstop here at all. Like Demarcus Robinson, maybe he's flexible again. We really don't know.
Demarcus Robinson's like break glass in case of emergency for your starting lineup. But if he starts scoring TDs, then he likes to go on little tears.
Again, in terms of 2024 production, this group does have a path to having better than the 7th most fantasy points.
A crap load of volume, a mountain of volume.
Right. I mean,
his top 5 is like.
Well, I don't know about
650 targets or something.
I don't know about Keenan Allen's volume. I really don't. Like, DJM and Odunze, like, I don't know. So he should see 130 targets.
They only have to get to about mid league in passing attempts to feed both their top 2 targets 120 plus targets. It's doable.
Sure.
It does sort of assume that Odun doesn't break out and become a superstar and gobble up a ton of target share.
Just Keenan Allen was on pace for like 180 targets last year. Like it's he's not going to do that. Like it's not possible. So, But yeah,
I'm looking for 120. That's all I'm looking for.
Oh no, that's If he plays 17 games, like he'll hit that, without breaking a sweat. He'll probably get up around 140. But like Devontae Adams should still smoke him. Rashee Rice, if he doesn't get suspended, should smoke
Yeah,
All
that's
right.
what I'm saying. I'm also sort of I'm less worried about Rice now. I went through and looked at the guys I have in between. I'm gonna stick with Alex at three. That's a hot take. I'll grant you that.
No,
You've got
hey,
Gibbsy at three. I've got him at four. Those are pretty close.
it's not. I don't strongly disagree with it, but again, just differences in our calculus. All right, so you've got Gibbsy with ARSB, Nico Collins, Romeo Dobbs. Is it Dobbs or Dubes? I never know. It's Dobbs, right? Anyway,
I
Dobbs,
think it's
Yunze.
Dobbs. Everyone says Dobbs.
Right. So he's solid through the first
Xavier
five.
Worthy.
Um, three all of a sudden it's feeling
I like
different.
A.T. Perry. I'm an A.T. Perry fan. I like Noah Brown. I think I want him on my roster. I'm only starting him if there's injuries in Houston. But I mean, uh, we already watched Stroud turn him into a badass for like 2 or 3 weeks last year.
I want to move 24 ahead, but I mean these two wide receiver groups are literally a tie for me, like character perfect. I'm gonna leave Gibbs at three just because the best receiver between the two teams is on his side, and possibly the second best is too. So yeah, Gibbs I'll leave at three.
Yeah, I think I like yeah, I agree. I like he's got the two best there.
Yeah. So all right, so I've got him at three. You've got him at four. Then you've got, man, it's crazy to have Pack like in the middle of the pack, but yeah, this isn't a typical Pack wide receiver group. But JJ Pittman is a banger. I really want I really want to get Pack to five. Six is just not appropriate. But wow, look at Cole. When we talk about Coles, it's gonna just goddamn. He's got JJ, so I mean you know that's good. It's good to have Justin Jefferson, Pittman, Cup.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah,
yeah, I love all four of his top guys.
yeah. Other than Cup,
Yeah,
it's
I like the
pretty
guys he's
good.
got at Zep. Yeah,
Yeah, this is a good group. After Williams, it goes downhill fast. I know you Curtis Samuel truther, and there's nothing wrong with that. And even Wicks is a nice piece. So yeah, this actually never mind. The bottom doesn't fall out. He's got a lot of good pieces. But for me, I had to give Colt the
yeah.
edge because Olave, Higgins, DK. I know we're very sour on Higgins because he burned so many people to the ground last year. He is still pretty good, and he's in a pretty good offense. So Ayuk as his wide receiver 3 or 4, like Godwin, he's got some dudes. So I had to give Colt the edge, but this is like, again, actually, I almost want to bump 24 down now. I know I
To me,
said
JJ Pittman is way above, way above. I mean, JJ Pittman is much better. I love DK Higgins. You know, he doesn't have a contract still, right?
no,
I mean, is
he's
he going to
dead.
be as good in Miami or wherever the hell he ends up? And then Ayuk, I like a lot, but he for some reason he just isn't in the tier that he should be for me. Probably because the 49ers don't pass the ball very much.
I just tore my rankings up and threw them out. Whoopsie. Um. Okay. Yeah, I've got Colt ahead of 24 now overall. Sorry, 24. All right. So.
Oh my gosh, I think we now have Colt the furthest apart. You have him at three, and I have him at eight now.
Oh my God. That's awesome. All right. I don't know what I did. I broke something on where I ranked 24 in the overall. All right. So yeah, I just moved Pack and Colt ahead of Gibbsy in 24. Sorry guys. You're all very good. Don't take it the wrong way. Okay, so
Yeah, I'm
we're
good with
halfway through.
that. I'm sticking with Mike.
At 7, you've got Mike with
We
AJB.
talked about 24, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's the quintessential 24 group. Nobody is old enough to drink.
Yeah, it's literally like just go back and watch what we said about 24 on the last video because it's the exact same group of wide receivers.
Right. I mean, London's going to have a shitload of hype in 2024, deservedly so. Um, nothing but good
Hopefully, he deserves
things.
it.
Presumably, nothing but good things in Jalen Waddle's future. We like what we saw from Jalen Reed. Jalen or Jaden? I always mess that up. Jalen Reed.
Jaden,
Is it Jaden? Guys, in the
I think
YouTube
it's Jaden.
stream, tell us, is it Jaden Reed or Jalen Reed First person to say it gets $5 in free fab in F2.
They're just gonna show that racist gif.
Oh no.
It's Jaden. Jaden. I was right and you were white.
No gifts in the YouTube live stream chat, Ben. Thank God. All right, so I mean JSN is a wide receiver 4. I know, obviously we're super down on JSN or somewhat down, but imagine if you could say JSN was your wide receiver 4 coming out of a startup last year. The boner would be visible from space. He loves McConkey. I like McConkey. A lot of guys love McConkey. He loves Corley. I don't know. We'll see. But he's got a lot of nice pieces here. God damn it. All right, fine. Sorry, Gibbs. I got to move 24 ahead of you. Sorry.
There's just no way this is over ASRB Nico Ozun.
I know, but the upside on JSN is huge. If he's right about McConkey,
I still like JSN. I'm not fading him.
If he's the upside on JSN,
it's more about the top for me. I don't buy London, Waddle, and Reed. Reed is like, to me, I don't feel great as him as my wide receiver 3.
Right, but
I'd love to see him be a badass X receiver that produces a lot like he did last year. But who knows what the heck's going to happen in Green Bay? They just have a bajillion receivers.
I mean, 24 and Gibbs are kind of what you call diametrically opposed, because you have to choose, like, do you think it's going to be Dobbs or Reed or neither? So I'm not big on Worthy at all, even long term. Certainly not in 2024. So I don't love that. Adunze, I think, is going to start probably, if not slow, then certainly inconsistent. He's going to have some real duds, I would imagine. And I'm not sold on Dobbs. I'm really not. So sorry, I gotta just the upside in 24's depth. I gotta give him the edge, but I'm probably wrong. The argument for Gibbs' receivers makes itself. All right, so anyway, Mike, AJ Brown, DJ Moore, loves the abbreviations. Hollywood Brown, Deontay Johnson, Justin Judy. I mean, it's very after the first two. You could make it the argument that DJ Moore has got a little bit of a target floor problem through no fault of his own. And Kellen Moore is, he has a reputation for running the shit out of the ball. It's possible A.J. Brown is not going to see the same number of targets as he has the last 2 years. I know that's sacrilege, but it's possible. So you have him at 7, I have him at 8. At my... You have Colt at 8 in his receivers. Jesus Christ, Ben.
Yeah, but you got Alex at 7. I've got Alex at 3. What's wrong with Alex? It's just old. It's just old.
It is old, but yeah, it's old. Like, the Colt has just as much depth, and it's not old. So, I mean, what are we talking about here? And hey, I love Rice. I love, for redraft purposes, I love Adams and Keenan Allen and Cooper. But this isn't a redraft league, so sorry.
I mean, he's got 3 guys that are looking at decently high volume with Colt, but I'm just buying all the targets on Alex's squad. That might be the most targets of any team in this league.
I really like DK Metcalf this year, so yeah, I'm going to stick with Colt.
I do like DK Metcalf a lot this year.
All right, so
he's my favorite one on Colt's roster.
Stop, close your squawk hole, you bastard. All right, so where are we? So you've got that, and then we just get the chaos continues. At 9, you've got BM Hunter with Garrett Wilson, MHJ, JMO. Like, it's crazy that a wide receiver group that's headlined by Garrett Wilson and Marvin Harrison Jr. would be this low. It's just ridiculous. But again,
yeah,
no depth.
He just has no depth, really. But
Palmer,
yeah,
I think,
and it's the same as I said on the other teams. They're splitting hairs all the way down.
I think Palmer's a dark horse to lead the Chargers in targets this year, but that's definitely some tinfoil hat talk there for sure. I don't like Alec Pierce at all.
I mean, the narrative makes sense. It's just that we've already sung that song several times, and it's never panned out.
No. This is different. I mean, Mike Williams and Keenan Allen are gone. It's pretty different. And Palmer was actually better last year. Like, when he was called upon, it wasn't until, Mike Williams, goes down, and then Keenan Allen disappears. And by then, it's fucking the Easton Stick Show. Anyway, so that's you have at 9, I have at 10. At 10, you have Bronc's group, which has freshly been relieved of CeeDee Lamb. Diggs, Neighbors, Evans, Thielen. It's really not bad, but Yeah, I mean Evans and Thielen are at the ragged end. Diggs could be too, obviously. So yeah, this is like the poor man's version of Alex's group, and I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sure Bronc is probably trying to get Evans and Diggs and Thielen out the door, and ultimately will. But yeah, he really needs to get those guys gone because they're going to go to zero. It's only going to get worse. Like you're only going to get less for them. So yeah, you got to get those guys moved, dude.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I actually think that you might be able to get more for Diggs. Diggs is the perception on Diggs is pretty low right now. I'd wait and start to see him rack up some looks and be productive
For
in
sure.
Houston before I tried to trade him. But
yeah,
and I don't think Evans' value is going to go down at all. If anything, he's undervalued now, and when he's whooping ass in week 6, somebody who's hard up for wide receiver but is competitive otherwise is going to pay out more for him now than they are now. But yeah, both definitely trade pieces for this roster.
yeah. No, I like Evans if you can compete. It's really hard to see a path for Bronx to competing. So, and it's only going to get he definitely can't compete in 2025. So yeah, gotta pull that ripcord. All right, at 12, at dead last in the league, you had this offended me. You had BGuns' Addison, Watt, Jahan Dotson, Brian Thomas Jr., Rashid Shaheed, Keon Coleman, Ricky Parasol, QJ, depth wide receiver group, dead last in a dynasty league. That's wrong. That's wrong. You did him dirty, man. 12th. That's rough. I know he doesn't have a clear number one.
No, man.
He's got a lot.
Addison is your wide receiver one is nonsense. And
there is an excellent chance.
I'm not a Seawat or a Dotson fan.
I'm not big on Dotson either. But there's an excellent chance that Coleman, Pearsall, BTJ, and Addison are all top 25 receivers next year in startups. Excellent chance. Okay, so the youth and the upside in this group, you can't have it at 12. That's just that's crazy talk. To have that at 12 over who do you have at 11? Lou with Hopkins, Ridley, Sutton, like just a fucking bunch of corpses. That's to me that's out of pocket. You did
it's better in 2024. It's definitely better than in 2024.
Did him dirty. I don't like it.
And then Bronc is the other one that we put down at the bottom. No, I'm there. I'm there. I think. I think it just goes to different priorities in how we're ranking and whether or not there's guys on that roster that we believe in. I'm really big. I'm really high on Evans. There is nobody really that I'm high on BGuns roster. I like QJ for the price, Seawat, I'm not interested in at all. Dotson, I'm not interested in at all. And I don't know if you've noticed, but any rookies that weren't like top 4 at their position are not, don't weigh into my decision making for 2024 very highly at all.
Fair. But then in that case, you probably shouldn't have had Lou so low because Hopkins is quite possibly the number 1 receiver in Tennessee. Definitely either him or Ridley are. And the Titans are going to throw in 2024. Like, maybe they won't be top, 8 in the league in pass.
Yeah, but a Titans wide receiver stack isn't something I want to sign off on too aggressively.
I'm just saying there's real target floors on both of them for for slightly different reasons. Sutton, a lot of guys like Sutton as just a rock solid blue collar wide receiver 3. I mean, this is the best. This is a really good worst wide receiver group in the league. And for 2024 could be. I'm
Lou and Bronc are pretty close for me, but Neighbors kind of tilts it. Now that if I think they're pretty close for this year, then I'll go and look at in the future. And Neighbors conceivably will be really special if he ever gets a quarterback to throw the ball to him.
Lou's wide receivers for 2024 are fine, and then he's got like Javon Baker as kind of a long shot upside play, and Mooney. But yeah, after 2024, it's going to get rough potentially pretty quick. Hopkins, Ridley, and Sutton are up there age wise. So, and I'm not big on Downs. I'm very iffy on Dell even beyond 2024 when after 2024 Diggs presumably moves on, and then free some targets back up for Dell. We'll see. Let's get there first. I don't dislike this wide receiver group as much as the ranking suggests. It's just, yeah. Anyway, on to the tight ends. Let's bring it home. We agreed. Did we agree on every number 1? I think we did.
Laporta Pitts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Porta Pitts. I mean, sorry, there's nothing else to talk about.
Plus Komet and Jelani Woods. This tight end group was built specifically to pander to me.
to both of us. All right, so McBride, Chig,
Yeah.
Jawan, Janu, like that's it's got star power and it's got depth, so that's nice. And frankly, Mike probably needs to go ahead and pull the plug and trade McBride for whatever for picks or quarterbacks, because you're going nowhere fast, pal. Sorry. Then we are way far apart on some of these. You've got the Kelsey-led group of Garrett's at 3. I've got them all the way down at 8. So way far apart on that. At 4, you've got Colt with Mark Andrews, Hunter Henry, Gray. I had him at 3, which I kind of surprised myself there that I had that high. At 5, we agree Kincaid, Otten, Hayden Hurst for 24. At 6, you've got Pack with Njoku Ferguson. I had him at 7. What the fuck? What am I thinking?
No, you've got a 0 at 6, which means that you have made a move. You've got 2 guys at 4, Alex and Gibbsy. You need to move one of those guys to what number do you not have? 6.
Okay.
Yeah. So you got a 4, 5, 6 angle there. You got to unsort.
That's right. I'm gonna have to do that then. I think. God, I don't like that.
Goddard Bowers over Kincaid Otten. I don't know about that.
I'm over the moon for Bowers. I'm a believer.
Minshew mania, huh?
2024 is but 1 year. There will be others. All right, so and then I don't know what the fuck you're thinking with Alex at 9 tight end. That's just wrong. Ingram Hawk is coming back for a torn ACL. He will do that, and then he's going to be back as one of the top targets in the pass happiest offense in the league. All right, so we're pretty close.
Well, do I like him better than Goddard Bowers? I mean, I also like Bowers a lot. And
I don't know what you're
then, I've got Goddard Bowers underneath Kittle, Theo Johnson. Again, at tight end, you basically just look at my tight end rankings, and I'm just going to give you the teams that. I'm not going to weigh into depth until I get down to teams that are like roughly equal or don't have somebody that really sets them apart. Right. Because you only need one tight end in these leagues.
Sure. We agree on Pack, although, again, Njoku Ferguson is really strong. It deserves to be higher.
Really good. Really good. Just not sold on Njoku's ceiling.
Yeah. Nah, fuck it. I'm going to move him up. I'm going to bump him ahead of Kincaid. I really like Kincaid, but I just need to see a little bit more. And, yeah, I'm there with Njoku Ferguson, even with the Browns offense scaring me quite a bit. All right, so you're higher on 24's Kincaid, Gambit. And then we've both got Pack at 6 now. And then at 7, you liked Bronx, Kittle, Theo Johnson, Jatavian. I don't dislike it, but I definitely prefer the simple elegance of Dalton Kincaid, who, worst case, is like a poor man's Trey McBride. Then at 8, you had I don't know what the fuck you're talking about with Goddard Bowers at 8, but you had him at 8. I had it at 5. At what'd you have at 9? Oh yeah, you had wrong. And then you had this. This has made no sense to me. There's nobody here except for Ben Sinnott, maybe. Like there's nothing else going on this tight end depth chart at all. Ertz is ancient. Dolchich is a nobody. He's like, if he's going to be anything, it's not going to be in Denver. Not with Sean Payton. That much is clear. Gerald Everett is nothing. Jared Wiley is nothing. Parkinson is a blocker. Higgins is going to be out of the league in a few months. So, yeah, I mean this is the worst. This is the worst tight end group in the league. That much I'm sure of.
Well, it just comes down to whether or not you like
Dick,
Freiermuth or Schultz, and I'm just comparing it against the other two groups, and I'm willing to take the chance on Sinat. Schultz is probably the more interesting piece there, but I don't know about Fryermuth or the Steelers quarterbacks feeding their tight end at all. I mean, neither of those guys did much for their tight ends last year.
Yeah, I'm not big on the Fryermuth or the Schultz tight end groups either, but Isaiah Likely was very strong down the stretch. There's a possibility that the Ravens just cannot put the genie back in the bottle, and they're gonna find a way to keep him involved in the offense because he was so good down the stretch with Mark Andrews out last year.
Yeah, well, they should just call him a wide receiver and then tell Lamar that they've given him a wide receiver group to pass to finally.
Yeah. And then I agree.
No, they need to freaking get a real wide receiver on that team.
They have lots of real receivers, Ben. If you look at my other dynasty rosters, you would clearly understand that I wouldn't own so many Rashad Batemans and Devontae Walkers if they weren't for real. Dummy, stupid idiot.
Yeah.
All right.
You know.
Anyway,
changing the upside of the third-year wide receiver on the lowest passing volume offense in the league is common sense.
Shut up! All right, so we agree Fryermuth, Bellinger, Luke Musgrave isn't very good, although Bellinger gets a nice bump, as does Theo Johnson with the Darren Waller retirement news. Anyway, to summarize before we strike midnight or whatever ungodly hour it is. All right, so we agree that Alex's team is very good. Gibbsy, we agree, is very good. Our final adjustments brought the disparities a lot closer together. We agree BGuns is fucked. We agree that 24 is pretty good. Garrett Jan is pretty good. Pack is the cream of the crop. I like Colt's team quite a bit. I think Colt can win the championship. You merely think it's solid.
I still have him at 5 versus 3, so it's not like I've got him in the basement. I think the biggest difference we have here maybe is Garrett Jan. That's like 4 spots.
Yeah, but it's 4 spots in the rankings, but we actually don't dislike him that much, like in the roster detail. So it's just some peripheral pieces that happen to get in the way. Yeah, Shogun, unless he does something about the running backs, it's not going to happen in 2024. Maybe he's fine with that. Lou can totally compete. I mean, we dogged him hard on his receivers and his tight ends, but there's some dynasty, long-term voodoo in that. And Lou's team can definitely win it in 2024. There's no doubt about it. Mike's done. Bronc's done. And, yeah, I don't know what BM Hunter's thinking with these running backs. Like, you can, if you just stop it, if you find a way to get a running back and maybe a receiver, you can compete right now. Like, I don't really understand the calculus here, but he clearly knows what he's doing. He has a plan. I don't fully follow it. Yeah, he probably him and Pack need.
You kind of got Mike in the basement. His quarterbacks are
bad. Mike probably should be in the basement, honestly. The rest of his roster is.
He's very good at every other position. He's not good at quarterback, but his running back group is elite. Very good at running at wide receiver, and he's got Trey McBride at tight end. So only one weakness, but it's a big one.
Yeah, I mean, I don't believe that he's.
But I do like him over Shogun because Shogun has 2 pretty big weaknesses. But man, it's splitting hairs.
If you don't have a top,
Lampuka Devonta is pretty good.
If you don't have a top 16 quarterback, if you're going with like a hero quarterback type approach in Superflex, Godspeed. But the one quarterback better be really good. I don't think Daniel Jones makes it to Halloween as the starter. I don't believe that's going to happen. I think something bad is going to happen to Deshaun Watson in 2024, or is going to more. Deshaun Watson's going to be fine. Something bad is going to happen to his owners in 2024. I believe that is going to happen. So yeah, I just can't get there. Like, it's insane how much he spent to have his quarterbacks be this shitty. Like, it's giving me PTSD just to look at it. So yeah, I mean, I don't. In Superflex, your quarterbacks just can't be that bad. It doesn't work. Like, you're losing too many points, and
it's really tough. It's really tough.
Like, yeah, you only have to start one quarterback every week, but which one of these guys do you even fucking start? I mean, unless Deshaun Watson's best case plays out, and he had a couple good games in 2023. He had a lot of help. he had a lot of help against, and it was in bad matchups or good matchups against bad defenses. So yeah, I can't condone it. But I could be wrong. I mean, yeah, Mike could even flirt with like a wild card bid. It's possible, but then he's gonna get fucking rocked in the wild card round. So, yeah. All right. So final rankings. We agree on 2024, or we agree on 24 as number 4. I like Colts to push Pack and Alex for a championship appearance. You really like Garrett Jan, and I don't disagree. I really like Garrett Jan's team too. And then we both have BM Hunter on the periphery. But do we though with those running backs? I think I have to. Yeah, I got to bump him down for the time being because it's just not going to happen with those running backs as is. BM Hunter, if you wind up watching this, if you get a running back or two, let me know and I'll we can move you back up. Yeah, I can't. I gotta. Well, no, I do really like Shogun's Capital. I've got Shogun ahead of Lou here, but in terms of competing in 2024, Lou really belongs above like BM Hunter because he's probably a playoff team this year. Yeah. So anyway,
BM Hunter is just really, really loaded. Laporta goes a long way for me in these rankings. It's true that he has no running backs, and that obviously is a problem. It is a position that you can actually cash in on with Fab if you're lucky. But it's just so tough to say because all the teams at the bottom have got holes. Lou is the most well-rounded one, but he doesn't have, his top end running back is unbelievable. But then beyond that, it's not stellar.
I don't love Schultz either.
But yeah,
Schultz should be fine as like a top 10, maybe even top 8 tight end, like that type of production most weeks, as long as he stays healthy. That's kind of the thing is he's been a little injury prone. If Schultz can just stay upright and stay in this offense, that should be fine. And really, the receivers should be fine. They're not going to kill him in 2024. They're really not. So as long as the receivers don't kill him and Schultz doesn't kill him, the running backs and quarterbacks can kill people. Like they are that good. So yeah, Lou's for real. Lou is absolutely in the hunt to win this thing. I know I have 24 really high. I don't really think that 24 can win in 2024. His team is just too soft and young and supple and nubile like he likes because he's 24. But his roster does have a lot of value in it. I just think he's going to get muscled out by the more serious teams like Alex, Pack, and Lou. And Colt. I mean, Colt's team, like there's no real weaknesses anywhere. Like he's got Mark Andrews, he's got a stud tight end. I love his receivers. I think his receivers are bulletproof. Obviously, I had him at number 3. Running back. I mean that's my kind of running back group right there. Like none of them are fucking runaway superstars, but they're all going to get you like 8, 9, 10, 12 points, and the occasional 15-pointer. So and then Josh Allen. So as long as Matt Stafford stays healthy, Colt can go the distance here. He definitely can. Which I should hope so. He's an industry expert, for God's sake. Come on, Colt. Avenge yourself, my boy.
I did like Colt's team. I mean, it's a very nice build. It's really tough the way we're doing this. We're trying to really come up with a way to be analytical about a lot of information all at once, and it's tough to pick it out. I mean, most websites use an algorithm for this shit.
And we would be remiss if we didn't revisit the trade, at least to get it in this this time capsule of a YouTube video. The trade that shook F2 to its core last summer, almost brought it crumbling to the ground. Colt and Shogun engaged in the trade, wherein for basically, I mean, there were a bunch of other picks involved because basically what they did was Colt was picking 7th every odd number round, and Shogun was picking 8th every odd number round. So from like round 11 on or something like that, Colt switched spots with him so that Shogun would pick in front of him every odd number round for like the rest of the draft, basically. So no big value exchange there. But they did all those pick swaps, and then Colt gave him all of his 2024 picks and all of his 2025 picks for the startup 4, 5, and 6, which I think he turned into not very much, like Mark Andrews, T. Higgins, and Ramondre Stevenson, I want to say, which at the time you could say, hey, you could have said, hey, that's pretty good. and just bad shit happened to pretty much all those guys in 2023. So that was unfortunate. But anyway, looking back, so I took all those picks, and you can't like go to like keep trade cut and put that trade in as is anymore because it involved 2023 picks.
Steam comes shooting out of your computer.
Yeah, so you try to put all those picks in there, and yeah, KTC just like it just stops. It stops.
You get a call from their customer support. It's someone crying.
Yes.
These leagues, F2 is a hot mess. I mean, F1, I'm telling you, the trades in there are wild. It's definitely the wildest one so far.
Well, but F2.
I'm only about halfway through.
Nothing beats the. I mean, this is called the trade. So. Yeah, nothing beats this fucking monstrosity. But I was looking at it. This is
one you're talking about with Colt, where it's Justin Herbert, Demario Douglas, Tajay Spears, and a second for Josh Allen.
Listen up, my friend. I'm talking about when Colt.
Oh, in the startup. Yeah,
there we go.
Out of it. Yeah. I cannot wrap my brain around all the hijinks in the startup. It's nonsense.
So anyway, I took those picks and I just they were 20. It was a 2023 startup set of picks, but I just pretended it was a 2024 startup instead, and I put in all the picks that Colt gave to Shogun. I put in all the picks that Shogun gave to Colt, and KTC present day values for 2024 startup picks had it as like 43,500 in total value for Shogun and basically 28,000 for Colt. So 16,000 shortfall in favor of Shogun. The approximate value of that on the face of it would be like the Caleb Williams and the Marvin Harrison Jr. picks just being given to Shogun in the trade, which sounds bad. But when you consider the fact that Colt got the better picks now and present day value, present day picks are worth more than future picks just because. And then the fact that all those extra bodies coming down the pipeline in 2024 and in 2025 for Shogun really put a lot of pressure on his roster to get other guys off the roster that he maybe otherwise wouldn't have released or wouldn't have otherwise traded. It created some positive roster pressure for Colt that has kind of an invisible value because you're trading away. You're trading for the right to not have players on your team, which sounds bad, but it creates the opportunity for you to take advantageous 2-for-1s where you might be giving up the more valuable player, but you're getting more value back, and you actually have the roster space to warehouse it. So even though it looked horrible at the time, and even looking at it again now, it looks horrible. It actually wasn't as bad as we all kind of made it out to be at the time. Colt lost that trade for sure. He didn't get killed on it like we all said that he did at the time, myself included. So just want to get on the record. I see what he was doing there, and it was probably fine in the long run since he does know what he's doing. But yeah, at the time we were not prepared for the shock value, and he could have warned us. He could have fucking warned us. Is what I'll say. Anyway, with that out of the way, who's your championship winner here, Ben? Let's get it on the record. Who's going to win this thing?
I am. Let's see.
Come on, Ben.
It's Pack. It's got to be Pack. I mean, he's got JJ and Brees and Lamar. Come on, jeez Louise.
So
plus Njoku Ferguson, just like he's all set at tight end.
Pack is loaded,
and he has all the ammo he needs to make whatever moves he needs to get it done.
Pack is loaded at every position. He's not super deep at receiver, but when you're that deep at running back, it really doesn't matter. Zach Moss is kind of a wide receiver 3 probably in terms of like production, like weekly production. So yeah, he's thick. I agree, it's Pack, but it would.
He only needs 3 wide receivers because he has 4.
It would be irresponsible for him to not go get some sort of third quarterback, because the one chink in the armor here is, what if Lamar goes down, or what if Purdy goes down? You are fucked, and everybody knows you're fucked because you're the leader in the clubhouse to go the distance here, and if somebody can get you over a barrel in that situation, they're gonna. So yeah, it would make more sense, I think, to go, especially like BM Hunter, who is maybe he's in, maybe he's not. Looking at his running backs, he's got too many quarterbacks. Like just go get fucking Russell Wilson or Sam Darnold off him for cheap, just for the peace of mind. Like that's the one thing I'll really say about Pac's team is this is kind of stupid as is. But he should win this thing. He should.
I think I'd target Baker because I think Bronc views himself as a seller already, and he's not far off on that. And I think he also really likes picks, so I think you could probably get Baker for a price that I would like.
Alex, kind of the same.
Looking around trying to see who's that at the position.
Alex, kind of the same thing. Like he's in this thing. He's in this thing. He could win. He maybe doesn't have the same bounty of depth that Pac does with which to work, so he might have to incorporate future picks, whatever he's got on that front. He might not have a lot, but yeah, it's just both those guys. If anything happens to Tua, if anything happens to Lamar or Purdy, like they're gonna be. And come on, we had like half the NFL teams last year have more than one quarterback start games. Like we know somebody's gonna get hurt, we just don't know who or when. So yeah, there's and like Mike's dead. Like go buy Deshaun Watson from dead Mike. Like maybe I'm sorry, Mike, if you don't know that you're dead. Sorry to have to break the news to you so roughly, but you are dead. Unless you move heaven and earth to get quarterbacks, and then you're gonna have to fucking blow Bijan out, blow Kyron out, and you're gonna be dead another way. So yeah.
That's not true. I think McBride and picks can get you a quarterback. You just need Deshaun to actually produce, but you cannot be starting Daniel Jones.
Right.
And you're not super deep at the other positions to be able to not have a super flex here yet. I mean, it's a narrow window. That's true. You could be a seller here.
He's already not starting two quarterbacks.
But don't sell Deshaun for a second right now. Just wait.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like, yeah, don't pull your butt cheeks apart on the street on the street corner.
Deshaun's at his value is at its nadir. You got to wait for him to come around and hope that he does better, because in a super flex league, you're moving a starting quarterback. That's one of your main pieces that you want to sell here. Ideally, you'd be able to keep Bijan in whatever comes next. I think AJB is a decent sell, but especially with McBride, you've got a path here. And if you go back and look at the startup draft and sort of where we thought about guys, a lot of guys finished way outside our expectations too. So it's a wild ride. You never know what's going to happen.
And really, there's a lot of guys.
But I do know that Jimmy G is not going to lead you with shit.
A lot of guys running really lean at quarterback. Gibbsy has Geno Goff. That's it. I think it's a wide open question if Geno is starting for them in week 17. I think that's a perfectly fair question. They almost did not bring Geno Smith back. Like they came very close to saying, you know what, maybe we let this guy walk and pocket the roster bonus he was getting back in February. Then at the last second, they're like, okay, actually, you know what, we're going to go ahead and pay him and bring you back. So, yeah, Gibbsy, same thing. Like,
I go to 24 and see what he wants for Levis, because he needs an RB2. And
like, look at this. Pac, Colt, Alex, Gibbs can all win this league, and Garrett Jan, and they are all pencil thin at quarterback. Like, guys, it's look around. Like, one of you is going to have a quarterback go down. We know that's gonna happen. So
that is a fact. And the price is just going to keep going up.
The contenders are way thin at quarterback. BGuns 24 have a borderline monopoly. Yeah, somebody needs to go talk to Bronc. BM Hunter's quarterbacks are like too good. Like you're not gonna be able to get those guys away from him. But yeah, somebody needs to go and buy Russell Wilson, Sam Darnold. Yeah, just do it. And talk to BGuns too, because do either of us have BGuns competing? No. So yeah. And like it's one thing for us to say like, oh, you're thin at quarterback, you should go do something. One of these guys after watching this video is gonna go get a quarterback, and then there's gonna be one less quarterback on the market. So yeah, guys, maybe pause, maybe time to turn off the live stream and go get to work. All right, anyway, We killed it. We crushed it as we are wont to do. F1 Thursday night, possibly.
F1 will be next. Let's say Thursday or Friday. It looks pretty good for Thursday.
Cool.
And looks like we're at 84 minutes this time, a little longer than the last one, but I think we're kind of still figuring out our way through this process. And I'm hoping the guys are getting some good useful information about it. And I'll share the link to all these notes in the league chat so you guys can get in there and mess around with it and do your own stuff.
This is good work, Ben. You're a good man. We're lucky to have you. All right, boys. Well,
all right. Thanks, guys. Have a good night. I'll see you in the Discord.
See you.